And yes, I'm making a video. I'm halfway through it. Actually, this is a slightly longer one, so I don't know, it might take me 10 minutes or so to finish. But yeah, this is a good setup, good warm-up. Hi, Mega Leech and Safa, by the way. So we'll get on to this. Switch that off for now. Okay, what will we do with a drunken sailor? All right, how much do the pension? Right, where's my jigger at? Now, checking the measurements. Right, so. Fuck, I don't have my lime juice. Shit. It's always something. I always forget something. Hey, Celtic King. I'll be back in, 30 to 60 seconds. Oh, goodness gracious me. What a silly man. Alright, keep up a commentary while we're hanging out. I actually started this half an hour ago. I thought I might be finished. What a foolish thought that was. Anyway, I need some little glasses. 4 little glasses that are the same, hopefully. I wonder if these shot glasses would hold it. These ones. Yes. Okay. My masses of glassware to decide which ones to use. All right. All right. Let me see. Now let's do this quickly. Very junipery. All right. It's about right. Right. I need to bloody check this thing. Check this out. Slow mo, okay. Let's go. Wow, that really kicked back. And I forgot to take the stopper off my sugar syrup. It's about right. Turn that beef. Gotta add some ice. Okay, that's fucking plenty of ice. Put the lid on this. Start with the shaky. Unscrewing that on his there. All right, I hope you're being taken care of. Maybe sit down with your shoe. Okay. Right. Want to put these glasses here. Take into account the widescreen. Alright. That looks good. Again, that was weird. Okay. Stop. Gotta get up. Alright. Number one. Gotta get up. Okay. Fruity. Going to do this. One that looks a bit like a urine sample. This looks like a big urine sample. Three-quarters of an ounce. Oh no, 1 ounce, Jesus. Get your shit together, son. Remember what you're doing. Yeah. All right. And turn that back on. Good Lord. Now, finally, this one. Man, it's just about gone. You know, fuck it. Just finish it. It's gonna put it out of whack. I don't care. YouTube's a lie. Tell people one thing and do another thing. I can't be trusted. See, I'm on record. I can't be trusted. I'm a liar. Okay. Gotta get up. This one, gonna shake another one. Okay, I think the different heights. I think ice is melting more as I go on. Right. All good. Let's put a bit more ice in here. Cool it down a bit. Right. Who has entered the chat? Hello, Kirsten. Hello. Hey, honey. I'm doing my World Gin Day gin review and making gimlets with 4 different styles of Australian gin and ranking them, I suppose. Navy strength. Woo! And sugar syrup. It's actually my fruity sugar syrup made from fruity beer. Because I'm a classy motherfucker. Right. Alright. And they've got this one going in the glass. And Dunzo. Okay. I'll get that out of the way now. Put that there. Easier. Move this around. Don't want such a harsh light. A slightly softer light, but hopefully hides some of my blemishes. I mean, honestly, I can use... I have a video preset that softens skin features. It just takes ages to process, so I don't usually use it. So you normally just get me larger than life and twice as ugly. Is that in Mad Max? No. I feel like that was a Steve Disney line. So like I said, making the gimlets the easy way with 1 part... Like I said, making gimlets the easy way, 2 parts gin, follow that up with 1 part of lime juice, and finally half a part of... And finally half a part of sugar syrup. They have to shake each of these up and then pour them into a little cup each. I was going to blind taste these, but they're going to be different colors anyway. So I will just do the taste knowing what they are, even though that might color my reactions. Well, let's go. I'm going to start with the pink gin, and it's a slightly pink gimlet that has the saline profile. The saline is still coming through, but it actually works really well with the lime. You know, kind of like that margarita thing with a salted rim. That works quite well. Now for the fruity mango gin. Big surprise, this one is sweeter. So if you have a sweet tooth, this might be the type of gin you'd want to make a gimlet with. This is the citrus forward gin called Sunrise Lime from Archie Rose. That's hitting a sweet spot between the sweet gin and the saline forward one. This is almost a Goldilocks and the Three Bears thing. It's going to depend on your taste, but there's a sweet and there's the slightly salty one, and this one is really playing the citrus right down the middle. Finally, for the brave souls, a Navy strength gin. This really tames that high proof gin by just putting in the lime and sugar. And it does actually bring forward the navel orange flavors. I have tried that straight just to taste it, and it's pretty hot. So basically, for me, I was tasting alcohol, ethanol burn, and putting it in a gimlet really sets it off nicely. I'd thoroughly recommend, if you're scared of Navy strength gins, put one in a gimlet and see how that goes. Well, that was my World Gin Day look across a few Australian gins. And like I said, I'm very parochial and going for the Australians. If you're outside of Australia, there are some extremely good quality Australian gins available around the world. And I'd recommend if you get the chance to try them. But wherever you are, there's bound to be local distillers doing interesting things. Look, I'm not going to shame anyone who just goes for one of the big international mass-produced brands. If that's one you like, stick with it. But I'd really encourage you to explore a bit, find an independent distiller that's doing interesting things, because it will show you that gin is just not one thing. There's a whole spectrum to be explored. That's my philosophy for the day. Now I've got 4 gimlets to drink. Get this out of the way. Is that still going? Stoop. Yeah. Wonder how much I'm going to sleep in tomorrow. So, my gimlets. I don't even remember which is which. That's all right. I'm easily distracted by shiny things. Raise, what's up? I'm in gin mode tonight, is what's up. Depending how smashied I feel after drinking these gimlets, I might make the first of my martinis for Martini Week, and I can switch off my banner now because I'm not making the video anymore. All right. Drinkies. Oh man, I forgot the one. God damn it. Do I want to record the line? Kirsten, I forgot the line about the number of botanicals available. I should do it. I should record it and find a way to edit it in. I'll try and remember it when I make another video. I need to say that. It's good. Quite annoyed with myself. It's like I planned this video. I actually spent quite a bit of time today planning it, but I didn't write down a script, and I don't have a teleprompter or anything. I don't work off a script. I got 99% of what I wanted to say in there, but I forgot that thing about the botanicals. Oh, because I know it's hardly a crime, but I wanted to do it because I think that's just such an interesting little factoid. And for those who wonder what the hell I'm talking about, it's when you make gin. Okay, if you know a little bit about gin, you'll know it's based around a thing called juniper. That's the dominant flavor, and to be considered gin, the spirit has to be based around juniper. But after that, you can use whatever flavoring elements you want. And these are commonly plant-based. Not uniquely, as I said, this one has been distilled with salt. So it's maintained those saline characteristics. Like, it doesn't taste like salty water or anything, but it's got that characteristic. But the other elements that are in gin are commonly called botanicals because they tend to be plant-based. They could be herbs. Herbs are very common. Spices, fruits, berries, either the flesh or the peel, or both. A whole range of stuff you can put in there to add flavor notes to the gin to make the gin unique. And the little stat, which Kirsten had told me before, and I'd forgotten and asked her, and she filled me in, where gin was traditionally made in Europe, they had about 1,300 botanicals that they could source relatively easily. In Australia, as distillers explore native botanicals, they've got about 20,000 unique botanicals they could use in gins, which is huge reason Australian gins are so good and so innovative that they just have just this incredible spectrum of flavors they can work with. And it is nice how many distillers do work with the traditional owners of the land to understand what's available, what's edible, what's good, what the flavors are. And they cultivate in a responsible manner. By and large, there's been one or two whoopsies over the years, but I think in most cases where it's been pointed out to a producer, they're fucking around with things, they've tried to correct their mistakes, which is good. So, yeah. And also just generally, Australian distillers are very big on minimizing their environmental impact, using local, reusing things, and minimizing waste, which is freaking great as far as I'm concerned. Good on them. So my other thing to decide if I'm gonna do one, let me see, where are my cocktail ideas? Wait, why is there not a link to my Trello there? Whatevs, I'll just put it in. Got to decide if I'm gonna do a Martini cocktail, which one I'll do. I mean, I need to go and get a lemon. I mean, like, not now, in case anyone's wondering if I'm that. But yeah, it's how I prefer a dry martini with a twist of lemon. Might do this one, an unforgettable, because it's really interesting. It's just gin and a tiny bit of Italicus and a tiny bit of sherry. Which, if you're a martini freak like me, that's kind of interesting. All right. Working my way through my gimlet. I needed them half size. I'm putting at least some lip service to being mildly responsible and not having 4 full-sized gimlets. Yikes. They're half size, so it's like 2 full-size gimlets, which is still okay. All right, champ, watch what you're doing there. But I don't have to work tomorrow, so I can do a couple of drinks and maybe go a little bit late. I don't have. I'm gonna have to go out and get a few more things. Like I don't have any my soda water. I don't have my big non-alcohol drinking glass and my non-alcohol, aka my 30. So I got to go and get that maybe. Maybe. Okay. These are not as good as the sour I had on Saturday. I don't know if I probably actually was it Saturday? It was Friday. Yeah. So okay. I don't know how many drinks I had. If I failed to mention it, but the gin sour I had on Friday night was best one I've had for ages. Safa. Oh, pics from date night. I could put some on Discord. Because I did save some because I might do a review. Date night was good. We went to a new venue, like a sister venue to a place we like. It's called Rufio. It's on Carlisle Street in Eastern Kilda, back where I used to live, basically. And it's started by the same people who start a place we like. It's called Repeat Offender. And I got to say, everything at Repeat Offender is a little bit better. Rufio's good. Rufio's got a good range of food and drinks. Sorry. Okay, Celtic King has managed to sidetrack me. I need to address this. So a VD drinking coffee. Yes, and as a Mormon, I know it's a stimulant. They're not meant to drink it. For a Mormon, if drinking coffee might as well please, Celtic, don't say that to him. He'll go and do meth. I worry that he makes poor judgment. Also, it was actually really crowded. Young folk. Mrs. Angry and I were feeling a bit old. Like where we live now is all old people, so we feel comparatively young. Every now and then we go to a venue where it's a lot of young people. We feel old. Rufio, pretty young crowd. So it's a pretty happening place. There's a lot of people there. The food's influenced by South America, specifically Argentina and Peru. It was good. We had a set menu. So there's like 5 courses. The weirdest thing to say is my favorite bit was probably these chips they did. And chips, put that in quotes, they called them that, but they were these huge fuck off bits of potato that they called triple cooked. So what I suspect it is they boiled the potato, which cooked it, and then they sliced it up into these big chunky chips and fried that. So it's crispy. And then they have they prep those before the night. And then when there's an order for them on the night, they fry them again because they had this really thick, crunchy, and I don't mean like you couldn't bite through it. You could bite through it easily, but really thick, crunchy skin and really soft on the inside. Fucking great. And I mean, we had a whole bunch of stuff, some octopus and some shellfish and steak and ribs, and it was all good. But if you're going to ask me what's the standout, I'd probably go chips, which I feel kind of ridiculous about. Well, okay. I think standard protocols are get all the vaccines that are recommended for you. Try and avoid enclosed spaces with lots of people. This place is actually quite well ventilated and weren't absolutely packed in. Like Mrs. Angry and I still wear masks on trams, or if I go to a supermarket, if I'm in a place with recirculated air and lots of people, I'll have a mask on. I'm still not going back to the movies, for instance. But this place was actually quite well ventilated with fresh air. So I think it was low, not zero risk, but low risk. But yeah, generally it's good. But I guess it's because we found some like super fucking good places. Like there's a few places we go to that I would just unreservedly recommend. And in fact, Rufio, if someone said, "Oh, is Rufio worth going to?" Yeah, I would say, "Yeah, go for it." But its sister thing, repeat offender. Everything's just a little bit better. The food's a little bit better. The cocktails are a little bit better. Like we do the whole thing with ratings of cocktails. Um, and out of 10, I was giving the Rufio cocktails 7 and 8 out of 10. Repeat offender gets 8 and 9 out of 10. Sometimes 7. That I haven't loved every cocktail. I've never hated a cocktail I've had there. But just everything's a bit better there. And there's a couple other places we go that just fucking have absolutely killer food and drinks. Rufio had good food and drinks. And so we actually have a plan because we think it's relatively new that once they sort of get their rhythm and settle into it, everything might get better, because that's what we felt about other places when they were new or newish, and we went there. It's like, oh, this is not bad. And then we went there again a bit later, as it was better. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like they've got to find their groove and they get better. So we're thinking of going back to Rufio in summer, like give them 6 months. That's Angry's Fine Dining Guide. Safra, I love the idea. COVID's slow moving. Keep moving fast and you'll stay ahead of it. The less you expose yourself is obviously better. I don't know, man. The fucking world at the moment, it's just fucked. And when you talk to epidemiologists and how they're worried that something far worse than COVID's going to happen, it's like, cool, dudes, cool. Apocalypse stuff. Excellent. Dr. Abigail, thoroughly understand. I am hoping my dulcet tones will soothe you, and we'll see how that goes. It depends what's pricey. I mean, they had set menus for $70 and $80. So if you think that's expensive for 5 courses, so it's all relative. It's not like, Michelin star hype bullshit where it's a couple $100 a person. But, it's not Macca's either. So it depends. It's like, this is the only reason I work is so I can do nice things occasionally. So yeah, although interestingly, there was a table of young fellas, and I mean under 25. And there was 10 of them, and I don't know what it was, but I was kind of checking them again. This is a pretty sophisticated thing for a big group of young fellas to do. I think good on you. Saving up your pennies to go out and have a dinner like this and have a couple of drinks with your mates. Not that there's anything wrong with going to a pub and having a beer and a Parma. I mean, I love pub food, but I thought it was interesting. It's kind of a sophisticated thing for these young lads to be doing. Like they were somewhere in the age bracket of my offspring. I am super bad at judging ages, but this little clump of guys, I'd be very surprised if any of them were over 25. They looked like they were somewhere between 20 and 25. They could have all been the same age, like they might have been school chums or something. I do not know. But Safa, depends who asks. I think for a millennial, you're young, and a Zoomer's going to say you're old. It's all relative, Teenager's going to think you're old. Someone in their 30s is going to think you're young. It's all relative. So, yeah, but that was a fine night out. Enjoyed it. Maybe I'm soppy, but I do just like going out with Mrs. Angry. We have a good time. It's so funny. We keep finding places we can get to by public transport because we want to have a couple of drinks. And I mean, obviously, you could pay for a taxi or whatever, but we keep finding places that we can get to via public transport or can walk to in some cases. It's like Patient Wolf. We went to Patient Wolf on Friday night. We get a tram to the city, get off at the War Memorial, and it's like a 10-15 minute walk from there, which is an easy walk. So, we get a whole bunch of places. I think we've both decided the city's too fucking crowded, though. Particularly on the weekend. City is mad crowded. Oh, yeah. Safra, if you're in the bush, you need your own car. Definitely. Celtic King. Oof. Not a lot. In fact, actually, just on Friday night stream, one of my school friends, Kathy, comes on. So we're friends on Facebook. I'm Facebook friends with a couple people from school. And I will interact with them occasionally on Facebook and on lesser occasions here. But yeah, funny you should ask, Friday night, one of my school friends, Kathy, was on. She comes onto the stream every now and then. We have a good chat. It's great fun. Suffolk Dubbo is... Look, I don't know Dubbo. There's pubs, there's restaurants. Dubbo has improved so much. It was more than 30 years ago. Christ, it's bordering on, oh my God, I'm so fucking old. Sorry, I just went through the numbers in my head. It's closer to 40 years. It's not quite that long, but it's closer to 40 years ago that I left Dubbo. So my memories of Dubbo are completely out of whack with the reality of what Dubbo is now. So I couldn't answer you. But I mean, there used to be good pubs where you could get, a drink and food. And there were a couple of good restaurants in the town. Dude, I didn't date as a teenager. I was a repressed Catholic nerd. And I'm not joking. I did not date at all, not even once in Dubbo. I did not. Catholic education of repression and shame worked too well on me. I didn't date till I was at uni, basically. Celtic, why did I move to Melbourne? This is where the babysitters were. So I went to uni in Bathurst, where I met AZ. Bathurst is halfway between Dubbo and Sydney. Finished uni, went to Sydney because that's just what you do. Lived in Sydney for 10 years. And then my firstborn arrived 25 years ago, and all the babysitters were in Melbourne. So because I'm like a country town Catholics, I'm one of 10 kids. So my firstborn was my mum's 20th grandchild, but my firstborn was on the mum side was the first grandchild. So those grandparents really wanted us to move to Melbourne, and we're like, yep, fuck it, that's where the babysitters are. Let's go to Melbourne. It's how I always remember how long I've been in Melbourne, because it's the same as young as Angry's age. Would I have moved from Sydney if I didn't have offspring? Impossible to say. I was in no rush to move to Melbourne. So if I did not have a child with someone who had family in Melbourne, it's impossible to say. One of my good friends did move to Melbourne and talked it up a lot. So maybe I would have moved to Melbourne. I don't know. Funny thing is about once moving to Melbourne, I've never considered moving back to Sydney, not for a moment. Just not at all. I moved to Melbourne permanently in like January, February 1998. So, as I was saying, I've been here 25 years. Because young Ms. Angry was born late 97. And by early 98, we had made the move to Melbourne. So it's that simple. All right. Finished all the gimlets. There you go. You arrived in Australia April 99, just after your 7th birthday. So about a year after I moved to Melbourne. There you go. A sprightly little tacker who would become known on the stream as Safa arrived in 99. The lead up to the millennium, the Sydney Olympics. Crafty killer alien robot. How you doing? Well, whomst among us is not a maladaptive daydreamer with creative galaxy brainstorm ideas. What's that? It's it's a whole vibe. Oh god, I was going to start typing this, and I'm not. That would just be fucking rude. So if I'm going to do an unforgettable, that's what you are. What other one might I do? Milady's Martini. Maybe Milady's Martini. Maybe a chocolate martini. I'm going to make a chocolate martini. Fuck it. Fuck it. Yep, okay, I might make that. Although I'll be fucking shit-faced if I do that. Oh, praise. Moved to Australia in 91. Out of your mum's minge. Sharing fictional ideas with Matt the Raccoon. Well, that's cool. Oh, we got a Twitch viewer. Hello, Kakashi Tour. I think that's what you're going for there. Ray, you're just reminding me as an old Bill Hicks routine. He's an American comedian who was big in the early 90s. He died of cancer very young. He had a thing where people saying like, are you patriotic? Are you a proud American? And he's going, am I proud to be American? I don't know, man. This is just where I fell out of my mum's vagina. Should I be proud of that? I just thought that was an hilarious line. And I thought that was hilarious largely because I'm easily amused. Hi, Ms. M, and I apologize for not getting back to you with a budget. It's just my brain has fucking frozen without guidance, and I will do it. For anyone who wasn't on the stream on Friday night, I was chatting with Creations. They do really neat icons for streaming stuff, and I am going to do it. But when you said, no, name your budget, and I go, I don't know what to say. My brain fucking... It's like, did I say hi, Big Pat? Hi, Big Pat. How you doing? Actually, Crafty Cat, Bill Hicks, Go look up the conspiracy theory that Bill Hicks is alive and he's Alex Jones. That's a thing. Look it up. I'm sure some people who say it are joking. I think some people who say it are serious, that Bill Hicks is actually Alex Jones. Oh, Rays, I'm with you on this, actually. Who was it? One of the American founding fathers actually said patriotism is the last refuge of scoundrels. Artificial boundaries and flags and whatnot have killed so many people, which it just seems to be human nature, quite honestly, to just go, no, if you're that side of the fence, I fucking hate you. Okay? And the logical inconsistency about nations and borders and whatnot is very weird. Pat, how am I today? I am fine. I'm glad you're good today. I might make a Martini video, but this will be a short one. Oh, you know that one. Cool. It's, I don't know, in terms of conspiracy theories, I think that's a fringe one. So I wasn't sure if anyone would know it. What are we doing? Okay, which one do I want to... Actually, I have been quite keen to get this unforgettable Martini. Okay, I promise to give you a proper answer tomorrow, Nizam, if that's okay. I don't know, it's the whole thing. Also, I've had a really fucking weird money week, quite honestly. It settles down this week when I get paid on Wednesday, but I've just had a week. Oh, you want a booster for a reminder for your booster? Good. Set yourself a reminder. That's good. I got my COVID booster and I got my flu shot because there's a fuck ton of COVID going around and a fuck ton of flu going around. And I am old and I do not want to end up in hospital because, quite frankly, my age cohort who end up in hospital, 10% of them die. That's a scary number. Like all those fuckheads who are going around like, oh, what are you worried about it? It kills less than 1% of people. Like, dude, that's not nothing. So that's the first thing. But if you get sick enough to go into hospital, I think the number's about 5% overall die. But my age cohort, it's like 10%. So just having that hanging over my head, if you get sick enough to go to hospital, there's a 10% chance you'll die. Like, fuck that. I'd prefer not to get sick. Thank you very much. Oh, fuck. If I'm going to do this, I need to actually go out and get my sherry. What was the other one I was going to make? The chocolate martini. That has dry vermouth. All right, I'm going to go out and get a sherry and my vermouth, which will be quick. Should I put elevator music on while I go? I won't bother to put the AZ video on because I won't be gone that long. It's this one, acoustic cinematic. That sounds meaningful. I'll leave that running for a little bit. All right, we'll turn that music off. All right, God, I need to put these gins away. Okay. I'm just gonna look something up while we're talking, and I will narrate. What's this? Collection cocktails. See more. This shit. That's it. Very roundabout way, but I found it. They say to do it with thing. So dry gin. Okay. I'm just looking for the suggestion. Okay. God, I feel like I'm going to need to take a loo break. Okay. This is pretty easy. All right. I just need to sort some shit out. And that's what I'll do. Now I've got gins out the wazoo. Oh, I finished this one. I have to decide if I'm going to get more of it because it's a pretty good gin. And it's a limited edition as well. Can you do you mean you want to join this? I don't know. I haven't decided about anyone joining tonight, but certainly not right now. All right. I've got to decide where I'm putting all these bottles. Right. Oh, God, why am I sneezing so much? Put that in there. I'm going to use that gin. Keep that one there. Keep that one there. Ooh, and I've got some spaces. Speaking about payday, maybe I'll buy more gin on payday. I really think I need a toilet break, actually. All right. Let's do this. Ooh, gimlet runoff. Okay. Okay, I've put the thought in my head, I need a toilet break. Now I really need a toilet break. Maybe I should break out the AIDSy video as the test card, the emergency broadcast network, as it were. My videos. I wanna see my videos. Okay. So, gonna do this. Yes, valid point. It does feel like dust or pollen. I think this room's a bit dusty. There's a tickle in my nose. What am I doing? I'm sharing my screen. We'll put the AIDSy on here. And I don't need to be here because I'm going to be out. And I'll just full screen that sucker. and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Wait, all right, I might stop sharing. There we go. This will be quick. I just have to set up and I'm going to turn that on and this on. Okay, that seems good. Okay, let's get this shit ready. Get ready. Man, I might. Okay, you know what? Archie Rose might be getting some of my money. Fuck it. Retail therapy ahead. Italicus. I guess 2.5 mils in here. That's too much. That's about right. I'm fucking guessing. Okay. Alright. Nope, I want sherry, not. Right, got my shit together. We're talking about HEPA filters in the chat. I like that. Workplaces should have HEPA filters, I think. Okay. Unzo. The gin. The Italicus. The teeny bit of sherry. Probably too much. That's probably right. All right, do that. I'll put it in my. Oh god, no! Fuck it. I'm thinking like it's gonna look like such a small drink in that big martini glass, but fuck it, why not? All right. Oh shit! Fucked up. I need to do the ice thing first. God damn it! Getting annoyed with myself. Whatever. All right. Put a bit more ice in there. And a bit more. Yeah. Gosh darn it. Oh, let me get that right. Where should that be? And that should be something like that. Alright. Let's do this. This. Ah. All right. Oh, sigh. All right, I'm going to put this in here. Turn this off, put it over here. Do. Get this happening. Okay, so that's ready. G'day, cocktail lovers. I'm kicking off my martini week with this variation on a dry martini and a forward martini called an unforgettable martini. It's a nice but comparatively subtle variation on a dry martini that has sherry and italicus in place of vermouth and bitters. We make it like this. In our stirring glass, we put 2 ounces or 60 mils of a dry gin, and then just about half a bar spoon, 2.5 mils of italicus, and the same amount, half a bar spoon, 2.5 mils of the sherry. We add ice to the glass, stir that for a good 20 to 25 seconds to chill and dilute the drink, and then we strain that into a martini glass. If you're in a garnishing mood, you could use either an olive or a twist of lemon, whichever way you prefer it. But it is a nice and interesting, subtle variation on a martini. I think you should try it. The unforgettable. That is actually pretty nice. Yum. All right, switching stuff off, sitting down. Oh, shut down, turn off. Right, I am going to have to recharge these Zoom batteries tomorrow and turn this one off. Shut down, turn off until morning. Oh, looks a lordy. Looks a lordy. So, the discourse is about HEPA filters. Heine's bought a Dyson purifier. I mean, you know, of all the things that could have been in the chat tonight, I wouldn't have necessarily predicted air filters, but in this disease-ridden time we live in, it's a timely discussion. Man, that's actually really nice. Yum. So Dr. Abigail is recommending DIY air purifier called Corsi Rosenthal box, developed during the pandemic, excellent high airflow and pollen virus-sized particles. Encourage you to check it out. Nice. Well, that's a nice little tip for folk to check out, the Corsi Rosenthal box. It's kind of like there was all this talk, and it was for a lot of the pandemic that like workplaces and busy places should put changes in place that improve air filtration, and it never fucking happened at all. It's just like the people who own the buildings going, spend money. I don't think so. No. And it's just redonkulous trying to or expecting fuckos to take any responsibility. Man, okay, that's actually on my list as yum. That's an 8 out of 10. That's really good. I'll definitely do this one again. Yum. Kirsten, if you're still there, you might like that because it's very dry, but it just puts some very interesting flavors into the martini. And it's not that big a divergence. I feel comfortable still calling that a martini. Because, you know, was it sherry's a fortified wine? Vermouth's an aromatized wine. And you can, combine the flavors of the sherry and the Italicus. That's a reasonable substitute for vermouth and bitters. So I have no qualms calling this a martini. Oh man, it's actually genuinely really tasty. Yum. Now that's just got me thinking of doing it with other things. What else have I got? Maybe the Vin Amer and another aromatic liqueur, but just the same tiny amounts in there. Yeah, I bet that would be good. The question would be what liqueur to put in. It's like elderflower is almost cheating. What else do I have? The various cellos, limoncello, limecello, kumquat cello, which sounds rude, but it's not. An orange liqueur, maybe, baby. The world. It's a big and wide and mysterious place with lots to discover. I honestly think I'll stop there. Honestly, if I want to catch up on the videos, I might even make a short one tomorrow, even though it's not a live stream. Actually, just make a video and have a cocktail to drink while I'm watching TV with Mrs. Angry tomorrow night. I might just go out and get my soda water. Yeah, I don't think I want to drink any more alcohol tonight. We'll play it smooth. Let's say that I have had, let's just say, several standard drinks. So yes, absolutely not a person who should be driving a car at this point. And not that I was going to, but I'm just being responsible. Hey Luke, how you doing? Yeah, I genuinely feel if I had another alcoholic beverage, I would be crossing the border into shit-faced, which I have no real problem with. I enjoy getting shit-faced. Luke, that's right. Happy birthday. You're another year older. Happy birthday to you. Safa, who knows? It's all going to be down to when do I run out of stream. I was kind of tired yesterday, and I think that was a product of before the Friday night stream. I went out and had some drinks and then came home and did the stream and have a few more drinks. Then I got woken up by weird noises on Saturday morning and couldn't go back to sleep. I did have a tiny nap in the afternoon, which helped. But maybe I'm going to go. So it depends. It's just going to be when do I run out of steam? At what time does that happen? If I didn't buy booze, what would I use my money on? I don't know, heroin? Who knows? Various things in different phases of my life that I've spent my discretionary income on. Music, like particularly vinyl back in the day. Comics at a different phase. Computer stuff, cameras and whatnot, stuff for YouTube, and these days booze. So it just changes my. Was it an attempted burglar? Well, that's why I fucking woke up, because like, what the fuck is that? And it was Mrs. Angry's lad who was here, and he's got this thing where he's looking after pigeons, and I don't know, he was having to-dos with the pigeons, and he was knocking over shit in his bedroom, which included, I know, he's a brick on one of the cages, and he knocked it off. And when Mrs. Angry told me later, it was various things he did. He go, okay, did you tell him that next time that happens to fucking tell us it's him making these fucking noises? Because it freaked me right the fuck out. Oh God, Kirsten, that's always a nightmare. Rent inspection. Well, although what's funny, since the offspring moved out, it's going to be much easier. Because we cleaned up their 2 bedrooms for a start. But also the bathrooms. Mrs. Angry's lad doesn't really use those bathrooms. He doesn't like the shower. And Dr. Abigail will attest to this. If you use this other shower, when you sort of turn it up a bit, the pipes start screaming. They rattle. And then there's this high-pitched whistling, screaming noise. And so he doesn't like using that bathroom. So he's and we said it was okay. He's decided if he wants to have a shower while he's here, he'll do it in our bathroom. Otherwise, he's at his dad's half the time, so he has like showers there. So Mrs. Angry makes jokes that like we cleaned everything up when the offspring moved out, and she keeps expecting that when she goes into the bathrooms that they're going to be filthy because they always were when my offspring were here, but they're not. So the bathrooms are still clean. So that's the whole thing. Yeah, no, I agree, Kirsten. Should be against the law to bother us. Yeah. Paying to be your house, they should leave us alone. This house, I think, was built in the 1960s because we did have a dude who had to crawl around under the houses and stuff, and he found a newspaper down there, which was probably a newspaper from when the house was built. It was from the 60s. Or was it 50s? I don't remember. This house was built in the 50s or 60s, and the electrics are fucked in this house, by the way. And every room has a different style of light fitting, which shits me. And they blow out the globes way too often. It's fucked, I say. It's fucked. No, it's a brick house. Standard suburban brick bungalow. Yeah, it's just the thing. Like, we had so much trouble with the air conditioning here, and fucking light fittings are fucked. And it's a whole thing. I don't know, Dr. Abigail. It must have been very dry under there. Like, it must have never fucking flooded under there. But the newspaper was at least from the 60s, I think. Actually, I might go out and ask Mrs. Angry if she remembers, because I don't think we kept it. It was kind of fascinating that he found it. This dude was crawling around under the house. But yeah, I don't know. It must have just been a dry environment under there, because it was actually in reasonable condition. I might go out and get a drinking receptacle and my soda water. You know what? I also think I might have a little treat. So I'll be back. I might put ADSy back on. I might be gone for a minute or two. Suffer. It was a Foxtel guy who was under the house. He had to fix some cables. He's a good guy. He's a very good guy. That was back when we first moved in 6 years ago. Let's bring ADSy back so I can disappear for a minute or so. We don't need me for this. I'll just put ADSy on. Sorry, now my microphone's on. The head fell off. The head is gone. Alright. Going to do a couple of things. I didn't know I'd be gone long enough for the head to fall off, actually, but there we go. Is my fucking fruit peeler not here? What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Oh, it's here. Jesus Christ. What is wrong with me, honestly? Heidi, yes, the zombie AIDSy is behind a news desk. The whole idea is zombie AIDSy presenting the news of the apocalypse. Okay. So, little animation done for me by Frankie the Skin. If he's in the mood, I might get him to do another one. I did talk about this on another stream. Getting him to do one that's of a classic test card, but instead of a little girl with a dolly, it'll be zombie AIDSy. So it'll be the same thing, but with zombie AIDSy. So yes, all the little bits of video that play in the background from various zombie movies and Mad Max is all just meant to suggest apocalypse news, basically. Yeah. Get some orange peel and my drink for the garnish. Oh, man. Oh, man. Put that in there. So Mrs. Angry has some flavoured orange peel to put in her hot chocolate in the morning. I'm so thoughtful. Literally the only reason I'm having this little bit of alcoholic beverage is to give Mrs. Angry some flavoured water to put in her hot chocolate in the morning, because I'm very thoughtful. I'm sacrificing myself. Might even make a little old fat. I don't know. This is my spiced apple liqueur. It's got whiskey and rum and my spiced apple sugar syrup in it. And that's so fucking yummy. Oh my God, that's good. I also, because that's running down, and I made a whole new batch of my spiced apple brown sugar syrup because I was running quite low on it. I didn't want to run out. So if I finish that this week, I might make and barrel age another liqueur. In fact, maybe I should fucking do that. Oh God, now I have this other urge to do a fucking taste comparison that I kept meaning to do because this Australian whiskey I have that I don't hugely like supposedly won a big award for best Australian whiskey, and I'm going, really? I don't hate it, but I don't particularly like it. No, I don't think I want to do that. I just want to line up another 6 whiskeys. Okay, I'm going to taste them side by side. Where does this one stand in there? Because in my blind taste test, where I actually blind tasted 16 whiskeys, that was the only one I said something negative about. It wasn't hugely negative, but as I tasted it, I was just looking at, this is not going to be my favorite. And I was right. It was not. I was still surprised by some of the results, but good God, that's fucking nice. Yeah. I wonder. To make that syrup with apple. Just thinking of doing the same thing with banana, actually. And that would be really good with rum. Ooh, pineapple and banana. Do it with pineapple and banana and rum. Or coconut banana. I've got some frozen coconut meat. Coconut banana spiced rum liqueur. Doesn't that just sound fantastic? I think that sounds really good. I might make that. So if you're a big fan of banana bread, actually, where's one of the things I went out with Mrs. Angry? Oh, it might have been the Bakery Hill whiskey night, where they paired food with whiskies. And I think that's where it was. The entree was the tiny little banana breads with, what was on it? Cheese? Cream cheese? Whatever it was really fucking yummy. And you're meant to get one of it, but they kept bringing it around, and it would be a different person with a tray and go, "Have you tried this yet?" Me, Mrs. Angry, go, "Oh no, I think I had 6 of them. They're only tiny, but I think we're only meant to have one, and I think I had 6 of them. I had at least 4 of them, and even the other sort of welcome to venue was a whiskey sour, which was very nice. We had at least 2 of those. You only meant to have one. But they just kept bringing around trays of them. We're like, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes, for fancy cheeses. On Friday night, when Mrs. Angry and I went to the Patient Wolf Distillery for their pink salt gin launch, we also had what they call a grazing plate. It was this neat little box of stuff, and it was cheeses and meats and accoutrements, and it was pretty fucking yummy, quite honestly. So that was a pretty good night. I mean, it's kind of only nibbles, but it was a lot of nibbles. So that was dinner for the evening. Cheese and meats and what else was in there? Some olives. Sun-dried tomato. That was a 90s throwback. Semi-dried tomato. In the 90s, that shit was everywhere. But yeah, it was on this charcuterie, semi-dried tomatoes. And something else that we couldn't quite work what it was. It looked like little tomatoes, but it was really sweet. So I think it was actually some sort of... technically, tomatoes are a fruit. But yeah, so that was good. That's basically what I'm saying. So yeah. Oh yeah, actually, just your bog standard supermarkets in Australia have good quality fancy cheeses, quite honestly. And in fact, some of the Woolies in my area, because there's a few Woolies in my area, they've started not just fancy cheeses, but fancy vegetables. Like they've started doing this thing with heritage tomatoes. Like it's not just the one sort of tomato. They have all these different shapes, sizes, and colors tomatoes, which is a neat touch, quite honestly, to have some of the heritage veggies. It's pretty cool. God damn, I make good drinks. I'm just throwing it out there. The gimlets, if I could make them again, I would put less lime juice in them, just for my palate. Yes, in Dungeons and Dragons term, the different attributes. Intelligence is knowing tomatoes are fruit. Wisdom is knowing tomato doesn't go in a fruit salad. Charisma is being able to convince someone tomato belongs in a fruit salad. And that's the bard that just goes, well, that's just salsa. So... Oh yes, they have those at the fucking Woolies, the oxblood. They're like the really purpley black looking ones. I was really impressed when the local Woolies started having heritage tomatoes. Like they have literally 8 to 10 different types of, and not just like, these are more, here's the red tomato, here's the cherry tomato. And sometimes they go with yellow tomato. They have these yellow ones that look like miniature pumpkins. They're incredible. And then different shapes, colors. There's some really purpley ones. And potatoes. They have heritage potatoes as well. Most supermarkets have at least 3 or 4 varieties of potatoes, but these Woolies that have the heritage stuff, they'll have another sort of 6 sorts of potatoes you don't see. Could be, Kirsten, could be tomatoes. But yeah, I don't know who's behind it, but I applaud whoever is behind getting some heritage varieties of veggies into Woolies, just to let people know there's a bunch of wild stuff out there. One of the things we had on Saturday night with one of them was with the I think it was with the steak. They called them snake beans, which is pretty fun because they live up to their names. They're these incredibly long beans. Like I mean like 4 or 5 times longer than the average string beans you get in the supermarket. It's really, because they just circled around the plate. It was hilarious. I'm sure one of the varieties they have at the Woolies is Tomacco. Okay, so Kirsten, the oxblood ones, dark red, ugly, look kind of like tomatoes, like pumpkins. But I was saying there's a yellow one in the Woolies where I go, it looks like a little pumpkin. It looks like a little yellow pumpkin, but it's a tomato. And and when I say pumpkin, I mean the Queensland blue type of pumpkin. It looks like a little yellow version of a Queensland blue pumpkin. It's really interesting. It's cool. It's cool. I noticed that the Woolies has stepped away from the incredibly expensive boutique bacons. I did try them because one of them, oh God, I've forgotten the name of the bacon, but they actually did do a partnership with Starwood Distillery. Is like bacon that had been soaked in whiskey or something. I don't know. But I forgot what the makers are. But this bacon was literally, it's kind of like the cheapest but decent bacon in the supermarket. This one was literally 10 times more expensive by weight. But at various times, I got their different versions on special. So I saved at least a little bit. And there was the co-creation with Starwood whiskey. I think that's it. I thought you might know, Kirsten, Saltsmith. And their standard one. And the one, I think it was like with pepper crust. And what genuinely surprised me is the pepper crust one was my favorite. I think I'm broke. I wouldn't be surprised. They were just too expensive. Again, it was impressive. I would genuinely say it was the best bacon I've ever tasted, but it was just too expensive. Yeah. They were in Woolies for a little while, but I don't fault them for a second. The product was good. It was just super expensive. It's kind of like the non-alcoholic mixers Cappy made that were just way too fucking expensive. And weird stuff seems to be happening at Cappy, quite honestly. Everything on sale. And I did I mention I freaking love my drinking. Anyway, I do have my big bottle of Cappy Blood Orange. I should drink something non-alcoholic. Safa. Okay, do I go to Coles or Woolies more? A big ceremony for me on Wednesday, which is when the new specials, because they have weekly specials, they get updated on Wednesdays. On Wednesday, checking both the Coles and Woolies websites, what's on special this week? And Whichever one has more stuff on special that I want is the one I go to that week. And yeah, Safeway was until relatively recently. Like, I think the last Safeway only changed to Woolies like 10 years ago. I could be wrong. We could consult the internet. When did Safeway change to Woolworths? 2017. So it was actually only 5-6 years ago. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I definitely, when I was living in the other place, I think it was a progressive thing. So I feel like, yeah, when I was in East St Kilda, local Woolies was definitely a Safeway, changed somewhere around 10 years ago. But yeah. So, but the complete changeover happened like 6-7 years ago. And my dad never fucking shopped. He was old school. But I have no idea how my mum shopped. I was in a bubble growing up as a kid. Oh, fuck yeah. Anyway. Drink something non-alcoholic to be a vaguely decent human. Oh. Lorks a lordy. I feel like I might have a burst of retail therapy later this week. Because I emptied this bottle, which is a really nice citrus forward gin from Archie Rose Sunrise Lime. 2020 harvest, this one. So there you go. So I had this bottle for at least 2 years before I emptied it, if not 3. So it's empty now, and I might get another one because it's a pretty good gin. But then it's a limited edition. Might also get a backup of the Bone Dry, which is a really fucking good martini gin. But there it goes. Oh, actually, that's really funny, Safa, as you say that. I do remember going to the supermarket with my mum when I was younger. But in my head about economy and where you go and buy stuff is meaningless to me. Okay, so it was released in 2021. So I've probably had that for 2 years. So it probably took me 18 months to 2 years to finish that. Makes me think I should get another one because it's pretty nice. I did eventually. I got the lime marmalade with this when I bought it, and so I did make a breakfast martini with this and the marmalade. That's a video on my cocktail channel. I did that. But, the Bone Dry is such a nice gin, and I've only got about a third of a bottle of that left, and it's a limited edition. Maybe I should get them. You see, so for thinking with a bottle lasting that long, I was legit concerned about how much I was drinking, and there was in COVID, and definitely the first 6 months to year of doing these streams in COVID, I was drinking too much. Absolutely no question. And I was like, no, cut back. And I did, which is fine. Oh, so Kirsten, a new harvest raw honey. So that is that a completely new gin that's going to come out? See, this is what I love, Kirsten, with you and secrets. I love it. Safa, okay. This is a legit thing I did in the first 6 months at least of doing these streams, I'd have a drink like this, and I would be pretending it didn't have alcohol in it, and it did. And that was my other realization, that I was pretending I wasn't drinking alcohol when I was. And I went, that's fucked up. Don't do that. And then I went through a phase where I was like, I'd build up to drinking alcohol, and I'd only drink alcohol in the second half of the stream. And then I went like, no, that's dumb. Drink alcohol in the first half of the stream, and then stop drinking alcohol and drink non-alcoholic thing for the second half, which is where I eventually got to. So, Kirsten, so this new gin, Raw Honey, they were making it while you were still there, but it's not a product yet. Okay. I've still got, should have been released yesterday, but they haven't even been hinting at it because I'm on the mailing list. They haven't even been hinting at it in the emails that I've seen. There's a brand new. Oh God. Okay. So I'll wait a while. I'll probably wait till after I get paid on Wednesday, and then maybe do some retail therapy. Yeah, but talking about honey and Archie Rose, I've got both the Eau de Vie, which is a honey-based spirit they made, and then the barrel-aged Eau de Vie, which fucking kicks ass and actually makes a really good old-fashioned. It's very good. Oh, man. It's like so much sugar. I'm probably going to go to the doctor later this year because I had a series of doctor's appointments earlier this year for various things. And I had a whole bunch of blood tests and shit. And the doctor said, okay, so your cholesterol is above where we'd like it, but it's not dangerous. That should go down. Your blood sugar is above where we'd like it, but you're not diabetic yet, but we'd like it to go down. And I've been working on it. So I'm hoping if I go back and get those tests done again later this year, it will be considerably improved. Just drinking something that obviously has a lot of sugar in it. I was like, dang. No, Safa, I haven't always been paid on Wednesday. As a contractor, there's been an enormous variation. Some contracts I was paid weekly. Some contracts I was paid fortnightly. Some contracts I was paid monthly. Monthly fucking sucks balls because it puts all the pressure on you to budget for a month. My current job as a full-time employee, I get paid every second Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, I bet you're right, actually, Kirsten. They need to sell out the other stuff before they release the new one. Yeah. That's interesting stuff. You watched the original Avatar last night, because I did note on Disney Plus, which I have a subscription for, the Avatar sequel is free to watch now. Oh, Safa, monthly payments fucking sucks. I haven't had it often, but because I contracted for 20 years. And actually longer than that. I contracted for 25 years or longer. And yeah, the variation was from weekly to fortnightly to monthly, and monthly fucking sucked. It's like you get paid, and if you're a contractor, the monthly payment is like, fuck, I'm rich, bitch. But you have to budget that for a fucking month. Which I don't like. It was not common, but it happened more than once. Over that 25 years, more than once, the payment was monthly. Kirsten with the advice. Don't make 46,000 bottles of a limited edition. Excellent advice. You paid monthly once. Accounting firm with in-house software. Yeah, no, monthly pay is fucking tough. But again, Kirsten, you are an insightful person, and people should fucking listen to you. All right. So if I wait to, I don't know, there might be an announcement about that one you're talking about. If there is an announcement of that, honestly, Archie Rose might get a chunk of my pay. I'm getting paid on Wednesday. Oh, so, hey, there you go. Kirsten's current pay is monthly. There you go. Yeah, I'm not a fan of monthly pay. It puts too much pressure on you to budget, and I literally weekly. Weekly is best. That's why. God, my first jobs. I am so fucking old. My first jobs, like when I was working at like McDonald's, your weekly pay, you'd actually get a little envelope with cash money in it. And there'd be a little thing on top that said, you work this many hours at this rate, which is that, and then that tax, which means you get this much. And that's what, and it would be a little envelope with the cash money in it. And that was the thing before just being put in your bank account. It honestly, Kirsten, super useful to be married to an accountant. Super useful. Strictly Sega, how are you doing? I don't know what new buttons you have. I don't know what that is. Dr. Abigail, I don't know what your frame of reference for Kirsten having powerful incisors are, but I'm going to defer and say, sure. That's the thing. That's the thing. Yes, Safa, that was the 80s, getting paid in cash. People stopped giving out pay in cash late 80s, I think. And it probably wasn't evenly distributed. But it became less common in the late 80s. Well, I was at McDonald's, I was at high school, so that was mid 80s. But it wasn't just like McDonald's workers, fucking everyone got paid in cash. People got paid in cash, and you get this envelope with your fucking pay in it. It's the whole thing. And I remember my mum, okay, growing up, and I'm thinking 70s now. My mum, like managing the household finances, she had a cash box. She had a little metal box with the bills and invoices and shit. And because banks closed on Friday, and that was it. No bank till Monday. There were no there were very early credit cards, but it's like, so my mum would have to plan it before Friday, what bills were going to come out, what would she have to have money for, and she would have to get that money out of the bank on Friday to manage shit, because if you didn't have the fucking cash, you were fucked. It was weird. Cash is weird. Yeah, Dr. Abigail, no electronic banking. Australia was actually an early adopter of both credit cards and electronic banking. So we had bank card in the 70s. That was like the first sort of credit card that was widely used in Australia. And that was in the... Sorry, if you wonder what I'm doing, I was messing around with some blue tack. I've got residual blue tack stuck on my fingers. It's really fucked. Anyway, so we adopted bank cards in the 70s, and ATMs, as in electronic banking and being able to get cash out of a ATM, started to appear in about 82, 83. And so, yeah, we had bank card in the 70s, ATM in the early 80s. Oh, God, now I've got the hiccup. ATMs in the early 80s. And we didn't get sort of full-on electronic banking till, I don't know, 20 years ago. Oh yeah, sorry, Dr. Abigail. This is the fun thing with credit cards. There used to be this manual thing where they ran this thing over, and there was a physical thing of paper that was transferred. So when you bought something on a credit card, it would take a couple of days to process the payment. It was wild. The whole thing was fucking wild. And checks, so you can say your mum used to use check. Checks were never big in Australia. Checks were big in the US. It doesn't surprise me the government wants to get rid of checks. Checks are fucking weird. No one uses checks. I reckon less than 1% of the population uses checks. I technically have a check account for my contracting company because I can open the account 20 years ago where checks were a bit more of a thing. But yeah. So, honey, your outgoings billed monthly. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Oh, again, country town, ATMs, hassle. Absolutely. A huge difference between big cities and country towns. Huge difference. Kirsten, you used to have checks? I have a check account, but I manage it through my card. I have checks somewhere. I could write checks. I could write checks. I have not written a check for a very long time. I did write some checks in the last 20, 25 years. Not very many. Oh, you have a check. Oh, sorry, you got a check from the government. Okay, here's a funny thing. I got this very funny check a couple of weeks ago because I was paying AZ's phone bill for a very long time so he could stay connected because he didn't have the money to pay phone bill. So I was paying it. So his phone bill would come to my house and I would pay it. Then when he died, I just called Telstra and said, "Hey, I'd been paying this guy's bill. He's dead now. I'm not paying anything anymore." And they said, someone who's an executor of the estate has to contact them. And I said, cool, I'll arrange that. So I talked to the boss of the house and said, can you go and fucking sort this shit? And which he did. And then I got a letter in the mail that had a check in it, which was for a small refund. It was only $20 something, but it was to the estate of Mr. And obviously, they wanted to put to the estate of Mr. Adrian Collier, but their stupid fucking system couldn't handle that many characters. And the check is literally just made out to the estate of Mr. And I called up Telstra and I went, do you understand how useless this is? Nothing can be done with this. And they were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I went, no, I am literally just calling you to tell you you are fucking moron. I didn't say that, but I was basically calling them to tell them they were fucking morons. Who would produce a check like this? This is obviously completely unusable. And seriously, I was talking to someone on the phone who was such a useless fuckhead. I just went, you know what? I'm just going to fucking harass you. I'm just going to shit talk Telstra on public, on social media, and someone will reply, "Fuck you," and hung up on him because he was just annoying the shit out of me. Because I was just trying to say, and I did say, "Do you understand how useless this is?" And he's just going like, and I went, you should put me on to someone who can understand how useless. Oh, I can't put you on to anyone, And at this point, when they say they can't transfer me to a manager, and I went, you know what? Fuck you. I'm just going to shit talk you on social media. I think I literally said that. I might not have said fuck you, but I said, forget it. I'm just going to shit talk you on social media. And it worked. On Twitter, I went like, Telstra suck balls for this reason. And someone contacted me and I went through the thing and it was a much more rewarding experience than this fucking person in an overseas call center I talked to. And then they said, like, it needs the executor. And I went, yeah, of course it does. Look, for reals, that's not me. I literally just wanted to raise the flag and went, this is stupid as fuck that you did this. And I messaged boss of the house and said, hey, if you want $20, contact Telstra and say, this is stupid as fuck. And I said, balls in your court. I don't care. So I palmed it off. And hey, Justin, by the way, see, I did say to this person, I probably didn't say anything abusive to them, but I definitely said, I'm just going to shit talk Telstra on social media and someone will answer me. It's just like, who sends this out? This thing that says to the estate of Mr. And that's where it stopped. It was like, nobody can use that check, you fucking units. You send out a check that said it's to the estate of Mr. Mr. fucking who? You fucking idiots. Who? What the fuck? So it's like, yeah, fuck you, Telstra. Fuck you. Ugh. I am going. We're wondering if I'm going to go late. Mrs. Angry's playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. She might be really into it and might play it late. So I'm going to text Mrs. Angry. Und so tell me when you're going to bed. And looking at my text messages also reminds me I was kind of going to say to Dr. Abigail, I should talk to you about a quite long text I received. From someone who's a cunt, quite honestly. Oh, that's very polite. You have a friend who works for Telstra. So, oh no, you actually do call it Helstra when she's in hearing range. Okay, there you go. God damn. Kirsten, you reckon I should try? I can't be bothered. It's for like $20. Yeah. Okay. Was I going to say, like, if you remember when we were looking at those weird fucking what do you call it? Discord logs, and the one person who was surprisingly insightful, not insightful, but self-aware, and they continue to be a little bit self-aware, but also dumb as fuck in the same time. Ms. M Creations, my day was actually pretty good, chilled. Yeah, no, I'm going to make this a private thing, but it is continuing, and I think if I use subtext, it is of the person, and they continue to be a bit self-aware, but also stupid as fuck at the same time. I was trying to think of something oblique that's not related to those people, but was the same thing. And because I have experienced similar things so many times in my life. And it's kind of when someone tries to shame you, but they do it, and it's so mealy-mouthed and double speak that they can deny it if you call them on it. And I'm remembering a thing, and this is completely unrelated to core stuff. We're talking about Dr. Abigail, but this is just left-wing progressive people on YouTube and other social media. And because I've been very front and center for years, that I think in the US, the Democratic establishment are shit, and Joe Biden was a shit presidential candidate. I think his presidency has been better than I expected it to be, but my expectations were real fucking low, and he's slightly above them. I much would have preferred to see Bernie Sanders go against Donald Trump and see what happened there. That would have been interesting. Bernie Sanders, someone who actually wanted change, who would have been at loggerheads with the Democratic establishment non-stop, but Joe Biden is the Democratic establishment. But yes, I don't shy away from Joe Biden's a terrible candidate. And this was the discussion that happened before Biden won the election. And I was basically just saying it's kind of funny that people who are out there supporting Biden can't say any Biden policy they're excited by. The whole thing is he's not Trump, which is such a shithouse low bar. And it's such a shithouse thing to pretend is good. But that's what they're going for. And then this woman, I was not that familiar with her, but it's more like she was friends with a lefty that I'm friends with. And she's an American. And she took exception to me saying, Biden fucking sucks balls. And she was having a go at me. And then look, okay, some people support Biden. Some people like married to the ALP in Australia. And it's like, I don't get it, but whatever. But then she threw in, because Biden did particularly well in, like, the tipping point where Biden got to eclipse Bernie Sanders was when he did well in South Carolina, much better than expected. And it's an electorate that has a lot of black voters. And she basically said, oh, well, this electorate where a lot of black people voted for Biden. Are you saying black people are stupid? So she's basically trying to embarrass and shame me by saying, if black people voted for Biden and I think Biden sucks, you're saying black people suck. And I was like, that is the most shit base rhetorical bullshit. Fuck you. And I literally just said, fuck you. And at that point, I completely disengaged. I just said, okay, you were just doing some shallow, fucked up, trying to embarrass me shit. Fuck you. Done. And she also, this was on Twitter, and she wouldn't let it go. She kept going, but basically every time she went back at me, I just said fuck. I just said fuck off. I literally said fuck off. She's like, no, you just hit a point where you are no longer worth engaging with. Fuck you. And she kept going, and I just went, no, fuck off. And she tried to make that a thing. And it's like, no, when someone tries to embarrass you with like, oh, but black people voted for this, and you say that's a dumb vote. So are you saying black people are dumb? It's like, fuck you. And it's the same as if someone says like, oh, you're doing that. That doesn't seem very feminist. Like, not addressing the actual issue, but just trying to shame me with a label. And it's just like, fuck you. And Strictly Sega, I think he's done a surprising, huge surprise to me. Biden has done better in a lot of things than Obama did. And I have to admit, I kind of got sucked in because when it was Obama versus Clinton for the Democratic nomination, Clinton was just the party machine that I had no faith in. And Obama kind of seemed to be at least a little bit of an outsider. And so I was like, woo, this could be good. I think the Obama presidency was basically exactly, and I mean exactly the same as what a Clinton presidency would have been. Hey, cow-hugging vegan. Yeah, no, I dropped it. Yeah, no, it was just as soon as tried to play this emotionally manipulative thing of, but black people voted for Biden, so are you saying black people are stupid? It's like, get fucked. Same deal. Was Obama a walk? Well, he's pretty much. Yes, Dr. Abigail, if you're up for it, we could do that. That's a fine thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. Justin, what US president would I choose to be? No, God, the most progressive US president is like a Liberal Party prime minister in Australia. None of them. Although I don't know, maybe some of them would have been better in the Australian parliamentary system. I'm not a good enough student of American political history to make a joke. Oh, sorry, Megalith, you had some. That's right. Here's some AI art. I had the Discord open. Where are we? AI Jenner. AI art of checks. Sorry, these are actually cracking me up. What can we do? Okay, I'm gonna share some of these. Yes, Safa. It would be Barma and Gillard sitting in a tree. Kissing. I think Obama would handle question time really well because he's a good speaker. But then again, I think Albanese does it really well. I think Shorten did it really well. I think Rudd and Gillard did it very well. Okay, going to share some of these. Oh, what the fuck? My computer's fucking with me. AI art of people holding checks. That's a really blank one. All right, let's try another one. This is me with easy check. Wow, that kind of looks like it's written in Thai script, and it's for $50,000. See, I would have put an effort in for that for $50,000. And yeah, they are typical for the AI art image generators, fucking up the hands big time. Like this one actually has 3 hands. Look at that. He's got a gap in his teeth, but he's got a hand there and a hand there. And yeah, no, very, very typical for these things. Fucking up the hands. This guy's, all the others are in suits. This guy's not in a suit. Dude, oh, Justin, Trump would fucking collapse in question time. Trump would not survive question time at all. God damn. He would go down in a screaming heap. Now, we've also got some cartoony versions, which honestly are quite fun, of dudes holding checks. Giant novelty checks. These are quite fun. This guy is quite reminiscent of the other more realistic ones. It's just so funny. Sorry, there's just something about the visuals on that I find really funny. This is oh god, he's got 4 hands. There's like 2 hands at the top and 2 hands at the bottom. That's really weird. Actually, speaking about question time, there's a thing in the media this week. Gene Simmons of KISS was invited to be in the gallery for question time at the UK Parliament, and he really liked it. He thought it was proper democracy because, you know, they were asking questions, but there was also some civility there. But Gene Simmons is a steaming pile of shit, honestly. And who was it? Ian Paisley invited him. Speaking of steaming piles of shit, that's sort of a deep cut into UK politics, bringing up Ian Paisley from Northern Ireland. Piece of shit he is. But yeah, I mean, there's the thing. I think Obama would have done really well in a question time. I think Clinton would have done really well. Biden on a good day would probably be okay in question time. Trump would go down in a screaming fucking heap. And because Trump is just fucking pathetic when it comes down to it. He's not an intelligent person, and he would just bluster and get really upset and petulant. Oh, Safa, there are a few parliaments around the world where they had punch ups. Ukraine, I'm sure there are a couple in Asia where they had punch ups in the parliament. But there's a few around the world where there's been full on punch ups in the parliament. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Who knows? Who actually knows? Oh, strictly saying, the whole Ukraine Russia thing is fucked. The fact that Russia hasn't pulled out of that shit is just fucked. Yes, Heine, that's another one. Taiwan had a lot of punch ups. Shoe throwing. Look, as much as I dislike George W. Bush, his reaction time when he was in Iraq that time, and I think it was a journalist, threw the shoe at, and in fact threw two shoes at him, and Bush did this matrixy thing. I couldn't have done that. I think if I was standing up there talking it, and an angry person threw their shoe at me, I'd just be standing there going, that guy throwing a shoe at me? Ow! Who throws a shoe? And Bush actually dodged two shoes. I have to give it to him. I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have literally just been standing there. Is that what was that? Is he going to throw that shoe? Ow! Ow! He threw the shoe. Who does that? Yeah, Dr. Abigail, the dam being burst in Ukraine, bad deal, very bad. So, Justin, you think if China more broadly had democracy, they'd have the punching as well? Actually, I have this mildly amusing idea. If I search, oh, sorry, good. Time's getting out of moving on. If I search, fight in Parliament, what comes up? Gravitas, world's biggest parliamentary brawls. That's what we like. Taiwan has them. Ooh, there is literally a Wikipedia entry for legislative violence. So Afghanistan has had punch ups. Algeria's had punch ups. Oh God. And then we suddenly go into it's alphabetical. Then we go into ancient Rome. Armenia has had punch ups. Oh God, they've even put Australia in, saying Brian Burston and his advisor James Ashby clashed in Parliament House. That doesn't count. Bolivia has had a parliamentary punch up. Bosnia Herzegovina. Brazil, but that was in the 60s. Canada's just have threats of violence. Yeah, Hong Kong's had it. Czech Republic, that's not hugely surprising. Egypt. Estonia, but that's from 1929. Sorry. Okay, this is a funny one. This is not a physical fight, and it brings up Ian Paisley, who I'd already bring up, who's a Protestant fuckhead. The European Parliament in 1988, when Pope John Paul II addressed the Parliament, hardline Ulster loyalist Ian Paisley denounced him as the Antichrist and was subject to booing, and someone threw objects at him. Otto von Habsburg was among those who helped physically eject Paisley. Shit, that one's funny. All right, you know what? Zangri's going to bed. I might go to bed as well because I feel a bit. But that was a fun little diversion. What parliaments have had fights? And yes, Dr. Abigail, I was definitely channeling uh, the International Man of Mystery. God, why is my brain blocked that? It's like Mike Myers as fucking hell. Oh yeah, okay, we'll have a quick chat. I will go. I'm going to go to Sleepy Bobo's. See you fine people another time. Probably Tuesday night. Probably Austin Powers. Thank you. I have no fucking idea why I couldn't remember. I could remember the name of the movie. I could remember Mike Myers. I could not remember Austin Powers. What the fuck?